One series down, one more to go today. The stakes are a little bit lower for this series as Cerberus are
Mhm.
now locked into the top four and as a result locked into playoffs, but still an important game nonetheless between Cerberus and GAM because if Cerberus can win this series, they'll tie themselves back up with SBTC in second place and keep themselves one series ahead of Team Wales in the standings.
Yeah, and once again, it's always all about this sort of fight for second place in now amongst the playoffs teams. We want to see when Cerberus has been sort of on a bit of a backslide. They've lost their last two series, and one of them was against Box Esports, which is not where you want to be, giving the rookies at the bottom their only win of the split so far. And yes, it's been a bit rough from it's just been rough from Cerberus. They've looked a little bit lost. They've sort of thrown ego in a little bit more, but the last series against Wales, they got to game three and just sort of decided to play a completely different game where they tried to play what felt like a bit of a pacifist run against Team Wales. They tried to get as few kills as possible and just hit towers. Didn't work out for them. Gave Wales a much needed win and brought Team Wales. This is wrong. Team Wales has a streak of two. Actually, I'll have you know graphic. I'll have you know VETV graphic.
They updated the win-loss
yeah.
but didn't update the streak, I think.
Yeah, I think so. But yeah, it's rough for Cerberus. They need to turn it around because they were second for most of the year. Then they had that slip up against SBTC. And now it's sort of feeling like the downward spiral of the late game Cerberus split is starting to its head later than it normally does, but still problematic.
Maybe it's the circle of SBTC is applying to Cerberus. Maybe there's some weird forces at play here in the VCS. But as you mentioned for Cerberus, they had that loss against Box Esports 2 weeks ago, and then they had a loss to Wales last week. And okay, right, losing to Wales isn't a terrible thing, but they don't have a lot of momentum coming into this series. GAM, on the other hand, still undefeated in the split. Over a series, they have dropped many games. They've dropped 7 in total, 22 wins with 7 losses, and they've dropped games to a whole host of teams. I think they dropped a game to, was it Team Secret last week?
Yep.
Team
Yep,
Flash,
they
yeah.
dropped it to Team Secret just on Sunday last week, and it was a series that Team Secret were pretty close to actually, I think, closing out 2-0. It just kind of then fell apart in one team fight, and it was actually GAM that were able to bring it home. But because they sort of struggled that a little bit against Team Secret. I'm not quite sure if if it was because they didn't give Team Secret enough prep because because GAM knew they had Cerberus, SBTC, and Buffalo coming up, and so they thought they could sort of skimp a little bit on Team Secret, or it's just the fact that if they won at one series, they would have been locked first. So they were kind of like, we can relax a little bit. We just need to win one of these series, really. And now they're fully locked. So in first place. So we'll see how it impacts their drafts and how they want to what they want to show, how much effort they want to really put into impressing these teams.
Yeah. And I'll follow up on that a little bit tentatively in the sense of there's always this, let's say, this fake illusion. Fake illusion? I could just say illusion. That teams are always trying as hard as they can to win every game. And yes, that is the case. But then there are points where you try a little bit less hard. And we've seen it in the likes of the LEC. I think it was when Mad Lions were playing against Astralis and they put like Kai'Sa into the jungle and they were role swapping everyone because they were locked in and the result of the game didn't make any difference. So I am personally hoping that we do get to see an exciting draft, even if it is for game 2. So if GAM want to go 100% into game 1, cool. And then game 2, just let off a little bit of steam, try some stuff out because there's also the positive of trying stuff out because you're heading into playoffs and you don't know that there might be some strats that you want to try out that scrims aren't really enough of a test for.
Yeah, of course. And I mean, I of course want to see GAM sort of take all this seriously as possible on the grounds that their games do matter for standings. If they were playing up against Box Esports where one's locked first, one's locked last, please play that as in the silliest manner you can. I fully endorse that. But this does matter. It matters a lot for Cerberus. They want to climb back up to second. That they've been knocked off of by the SBTC esports lineup, and they need this. They need a win. They've been lacking a win recently, and they need to bring it in.
Also, on a slightly separate note, and this is a bit of a joke, what would be the better narrative, or what would be the worst narrative to hear heading into MSI? GAM are the best team from the VCS, but they just dominated everyone because the VCS isn't good. Or, oh, it was a really close split in the VCS where GAM lost lots of series in regular season and during playoffs. Because you know that's going to happen.
I've given the LJL enough craps calling them a one-team region where they're constantly like, we're not a one-team region, it's just that DFM keeps winning at the very last hurdle. I'm kind of feeling like we're gonna approach that state with GAM, aren't we? It's gonna be
I think we already
close.
have.
We kind of have, but it's like
our benefit is.
I insist it's not that. It's not a one-team region. It's not that bad.
We've just had the benefit of last year sending Saigon Buffalo to 2 international events. So it's like, hey, look, here's this other team as well. I know they didn't make it out of play-ins at Worlds, and actually they had a pretty good showing at MSI, but in reality, it is just GAM at the moment. Hopefully, though, they'll have a bit of a challenge, though, heading into the final few weeks, or the final week of regular season and the final few weeks of the split. This does give us an opportunity to talk a little bit about how GAM have changed, because the only real change that they've had on their roster is the fact that Zin is coming in the support role, and the fact that we're seeing Hanke on screen, which is really cool. But Zin has had a quiet showing. But that being said, we thought GAM would be downgrading their roster, and they kind of haven't.
Yeah, it's very much an identity shift, and we saw a little bit last year where B was out from sickness, that GAM just looked lost without him, and a lot of people were fearing that it would be the same. But Jackie has left, Hanke's taken prime position as coach, and I think we've seen the team sort of, because they don't have B, they've adjusted back to a different style. Namely, a style that Zin, Kiaya, and Levi were comfortable with when they played on GAM back in 2019. Going to stop that point there, though, because draft is well underway and going through really quickly.
They're flying through picks and bans. The Annie left open, and Cerberus instantly locking into that. Annie can be flexed between Yado and Rono P. And GAM themselves are locking in the Vi that we were touching on. Has been nerfed, but we're not playing on the patch where the Vi has been nerfed yet, and the Rakan locked alongside the Vi.
So far, quick glance at the bans, a lot of AD carries, and Wukong, of course, taken off the board, and as well as a couple of target bans thrown towards at Cerberus. So I think Kai'Sa, okay, maybe not. The Jinx makes a lot more sense. Kai'Sa is kind of, it's playable, but it's not really terribly popular at the moment. Right now, it's looking like a fantastic draft for the side of Cerberus. So they've got a really strong mid pick in the mid lane. They've got a really comfortable jungler for Ego, and they've got one of the best AD carries on patch for one of the best AD carries in the league. So everything's coming up. Cerberus right now, and GAM, it's definitely not a bad draft. It's fairly in tune with meta, but it's not the most outside of the I guess I'm mostly just looking at the Vi and thinking Vi has not had a good performance in the VCS. I don't think it's really something the junglers are comfortable with, and this could end up biting GAM a little bit, despite Levi overall having a really good split.
And when I look at that Vi, I'm looking at the targets that the Vi has. Do you really want to be jumping in on an Annie? And, well, your other target is this Xayah that has a Featherstorm repeal. So maybe Levi's avenues to start a fight aren't the best. But then again, if you've got a Jinx, you can pretty much front to back team fight. I would like to see some tanks in this top lane. I can't believe I'm saying that, but it feels like a long time since I saw Xayah now fight Cho'Gath in the top lane. And just, a bit of frontline for both teams would be nice.
Well, you're not going to see Cassante. There's one tank who's secretly moonlights as a bruiser coming out, being taken off the board. Gonna have to see what comes through. Pun is a sort of tank player, and he's gonna have to pick something blind right now. Sion is open. Malphite is open most noticeably, and I'm wondering what is this trying to be a bait onto the Malphite pick? Rumble for Ron OP. That's gonna be. Oh no, of course. Ron OP would never play an actual something that doesn't go all in. But why are we blinding Rumble top? I don't.
Maybe it's Rumble mid, Annie top, just like in 2020 when Annie became meta again.
Yeah,
I know
like
it's not Annie top.
Briefly 2022, I remember Flandre was playing that a lot, but Rumble blind. Okay. The guy thinks he's Shanji or something, but this is interesting. It doesn't really feel. It's not a pun champion to me, so I'm a bit shocked, but it's gonna be counted by the Jace. I don't necessarily know what if TI really knew what to take into it. I guess it cancels out the cannon as an option. You can't really run that into it as freely, but which has been what Ki has been hard spamming. It also stops the Malphite pick, so it's sort of being picked as a preemptive counter to picks Ki wants to play.
It's Ego Plague. I just realised.
Yes.
Yeah, Ego and Draktar have been sharing jungle duty. I say sharing. It's been Draktar mainly playing in the jungle. Ego has been present in, I think, 3 different series. Once against Box, once against SPTC, and once against Wales. So this is going to be the 4th series that Ego performs in. And don't forget, the last time Ego was really playing for Cerberus was back in winter 2021 when Cerberus won the split.
Yeah, they've sort of been trying Ego a little bit more. They sort of, from what we've seen, it admittedly hasn't been very much, but it's been Ego sort of playing one specific style, where Draktar's diversified a little bit, which I think has been why they've played Draktar a little bit more on the starting spot. Ego just not quite adjusting to the meta, waiting desperately for Graves to come back in and Lilia to come back in the meta, I suppose. But I think it's very interesting that they're trying them out now. I guess they might not necessarily be expecting a great win, a high chance of winning them. Their Ego is arguably the most successful player against GAM in the history of the VCS, so they're gonna try him out again.
What is that? 1 split, 100% win rate against GAM? No, 2 splits.
Two splits, 100% win rates in those full splits he's played as a starter. Once on Flash, once on Cerberus.
Was he on Flash in 2020?
Yeah, 2020 summer, it was Ego. That's why we were so excited and really interested when he went to Cerberus, and then kind of...
Wait, so what happened 2021 spring?
Eugen. Oh, wait. 2021 spring?
Because if he was in 2020... Or did he not play in 21 spring?
No, he didn't play. He didn't play.
Okay.
Yeah, he didn't play.
Here I thought Ego's tumultuous career started after 2021 winter, but no, it had already long begun. Ego is a player who really makes after his name, or takes after his name, I should say. And he's had an up and down career for all sorts of reasons. But one thing we do know, he is a very, very talented player.
Yeah. Now I'm trying to remember where was Ego in 2021 spring. It's completely irrelevant. He was on.
No, irrelevant top laner in DC. Or
okay.
Where is he now? SK? I don't know. He's gone somewhere.
It doesn't matter. What does matter is we are going off to a pretty basic start, and we have the cow. Alistair coming in. We love a cheeky Alistair in the VCS. Hasn't been playing terribly all that much. The actual buffs that will actually do something to help his support win rate haven't come in yet. Those are on 13.7. They've just dropped today in Oceania at least, but he will do a little bit of more damage with that Relic Shield because AP ratios, hooray, and some healing, I suppose, which might help Artemis be able to fight a little bit more aggressively for lane control up against Xin and Style. But right now, it's just Jinx playing for wave, just keeping that pressure on, and currently coming up to a decent position.
So, Marby, it is your favorite time of the day. Do you know what time that is?
Is it Viego o'clock?
It is Viego o'clock. Not what I was thinking.
Ooh.
Good flash from Style out of the headbutt pulverize. Grand entrance to stop Ego from aggressing any further. Very cleanly played. Forces out the cleanse from Style as well. So that's both summoners burnt by the GAM ADC.
Yeah, that's a huge play coming out. It's a very, very nice flash from the side of Style. Absolutely insane reflexes going to the flash headbutt pulverize. But now Levi is here. Ron is gonna find him, but this should just mean Style gets to be safe in the 3v3. And they get to crash the wave, no problem. Unless Ron OP wants to try something a little bit spicy.
I feel like there should be a fight here, Marby. Why are they not fighting?
Good question. Why is Zin still here? I suppose he's for Khan, so he should be okay. But it's given a lot full bot side control to the side of Ego, and Ego should be able to make his way into the top side and secure that double scuttle if he so chooses. But instead, he's just trying to make sure he can track Levi, maybe try and fight him on the ground. Can't steal the blue buff away. Ego just wants to get into Levi's face.
Leave Levi alone and go back to your own jungle. Bad Ego. Oh god, here we go. This is the way to start a Cerberus GAM series, isn't it? And then after all of that, Ego decides to peace on out. So going back to my previous point, Marby, as Ego now sports nearly a 10 CS deficit in the jungle, it's the favorite time, which is Milky Stats o'clock. And my choice of stat for this early game is Carty. You know they're there. Okay, Ron OP, good charm. Takes Ron OP under tower. Carty finds a bit of damage. How many games of Alistar do you think we've had in the VCS this split? And what do you think its win rate is?
I know we've had at least 2.
You are correct so far.
I know one of them was Zin, and the other one was Ron.
Incorrect.
Oh, were they both Zin?
Zin has 2 games. Sora played the other game of Alistar. Zin won one of the games, and the other 2 games were...
Okay, Sora, okay, then 50% win rate?
33% win. Oh,
33% win rate, yeah.
Well, I mean, does it really count 50% win rate if it's for Zin because GAM are just winning every game?
They're not winning every game, though, apparently.
Yeah, but Sora is not losing every game anymore. Oh...
It's true, but yeah, I know we've seen a little bit. I remember I had the tracker going at the very start of the split, going how long until we see a Alistar where we really shouldn't be seeing it. Week 2, the first series of the week, and it was great.
Alistar,
anyway.
Renekton. What else do we, love the VCS for? Picks that don't belong.
Oh, you could maybe make a case for Viego, not currently at the moment, but I don't know.
Lee
I
Sin?
think Lee Sin always belongs.
True. I mean, if Yulwei was here, probably say Jin. Graves?
Yeah. Oh, I don't know. It's gonna be Graves. Maybe we've seen a bit of Graves, but I feel like Graves is one of those champions that if you hit the jungle pool enough in any region, they're gonna go into a Graves at some point. So it doesn't seem unreasonable. Unlike Alistar, where I feel like we're pretty much the only people who play with any regularity. I'm fairly sure.
To be fair though, the Alistar here does have somewhat of a purpose, can very effectively deny Zin's engage, as well as being a bit of a protection for Yado and Artemis against Levi and Kiaya if he tries to find a flank.
Yeah, currently he's made a good move. He's forced Style to sort of be in a rough position. They haven't been able to convert on that though, as Style's flash is going to be coming up very shortly. Ron has his full flash available given his rune choices, so maybe this is an opportunity for them to find something, but currently we're just sort of seeing things playing out as decently, just building up for Kiara on the top side, taking this pick into this rumble from Pun. We kind of need to see Cerberus make its way up there, because otherwise this Ignite Rumble top lane is kind of just not going to be doing all that much, but instead it's Levi.
Level 6 available, and Pop goes a Rumble Flash away with a scratch. Pun V9!
What have you done, Gam? They've stuffed it. They've stuffed it so bad. And look at Pun on the player cam, just dead in the face. He's cool, calm, and collected. He knew he had that. He did no excitement, no reaction. This is just how Rumble works, baby. Great. Starts with the ult to just try and clear the, not even clear the wave, just to catch Levi on the way in. Kiaya takes so much damage and the ignite finishes him off. You see the little spam there. You see the spam laugh. He knows what he did. Doesn't show on the player cam, but he does tell us in game.
Artemis has been hit by the snap, has a heal, has a flash, a Featherstorm, able to sidestep on the Mega Death Rocket, and here comes the cow! Onto style. Sadly, the Ron OP gets the kill, but Cerberus will take it nonetheless, 3-0.
Nah, stop it. He earned it. He earned it. That was his kill. He could have potentially greeted a little bit more if he'd used the pulverize, but great use on the headbutt, knocks Style back, keeps him sick, keeps him down. Style can't get the turnaround kill onto Artemis either, and it's just kind of Cerberus running everything right now. They haven't really done much. It's sort of responding to GAM's plays. It's still GAM trying to being the proactive one, I will admit, but it's Cerberus lapping back extremely well. Now Pun has a full Silk Shoes. He has that Hextech Alternator, and now he's sort of found a way to sort of control the lane. He's no longer getting completely bullied out by Kiaya. And it's now his turn to poke at the Jace under tower.
You know, I think my last 3 days of casting VCS, there's been one of those failed dives topside where a top laner has ended up getting 1 or 2 kills. I think once with Pun, I want to say once with Hero.
Here it comes. It's cow time. It's not cow time.
I think every time I do that, every time it's cow time, if I cast and you just say moo in the background, I think that would work splendidly.
Can hunt around for a cowbell of some kind.
Cowbell?
Close enough. I mean, we've seen.
You can get Pippin's bell.
Well, no, it's not the same. It's not even close.
It's not.
I mean, we see
true.
Ron playing the cowbell skin because he is correct.
Yes, it's the only skin you get to play when you're on Alistair.
Kind of, yeah. I mean, there's no point to playing any of the others because they don't have a cowbell.
Exactly. Here comes Cerberus. Cowbell is ringing, and he is attracting the rest of Cerberus down for a party in the bottom lane. Style without flash out of the headbutt once again, and Zin able to dance his way out to safety. A daring tango by the GAM bottom lane.
Tell you what, GAM are playing the disengage extremely well. It's still good coming out from Cerberus to force these summoner spells on repeat, but just insane reactions coming out from Style twice, flashing that headbutt pulverize. Kind of just smacking them. If that's gonna be the play over and over again, they might need to try and find something different, or at the very least speed up the frequency at which they try and make these plays. Because currently, it's just they haven't been able to really punish Style all that much on the flash plays. They've just been able to punish him that once where they went deep under tower to try and kill Artemis.
Somehow, and this is the surprising thing, the gold is pretty much dead even between the two teams. GAM have been able to get a Drake, and they've been able to pick up, I think, 1 tower plate in each of the 3 lanes right now. And we'll see whether Cerberus can pick up any tower plates of their own. They do have a Rift Herald at their disposal, and I just remembered it is Ego with a Rift Herald. We might be seeing an Ego Rift Herald play.
Yes. Okay, Ron's going to get tagged a little bit, but there's not too much follow-up really available. It's going to be interesting to see where Ego wants to place it. But I would try and drop it top lane personally. I think giving it to Pun is good. That's it.
Yado flashes under his tower. Can the Molten Shield keep him alive? No, it can't. Ego now into the play card. He's got to take 2 very big tower shots. Rolo P goes in with a headbutt. Pops down the Ignite as well. Surely Kati will fall, goes golden. That will keep him alive. But in comes Pun, and Ego dies under his own tower. He was placing the Rift Herald. That's why he died. He couldn't cast his spells. Ego, no.
What? Okay, I mean, I guess you got the Rift Herald into Pun, which is kind of what I was saying you should be doing, but It was a very strange way to go about it. Why
You know,
did he think he had a... maybe he thought he had a ward there? I don't know. It starts off with an engage onto Yado, though. He's able to stall out pretty well with that Tibbers. It gets that trade kill back. Lets Ego start an attempt to try and reset, but the animation count is a little bit too long that he can't convert straight onto Cardi. But it's enough, the Ignite is enough to force the stopwatch. And yeah, that's just a decision. Not expecting Kiaya to go all in, I expect. Not expecting that distance to get close, but it looked silly. And now Pun has a worker belt.
A brief look to history. 2 years ago, Milky Cereal casted on Cerberus for the first time, and Ego put down a Rift Herald that did nothing because he didn't know how to use his Rift Herald properly. He then did it again, and I want to say a third time, and to be honest, after the second time, I forever called it an Ego Rift Herald, which is why I thought, hey, I get to cast on Ego for the first time in a year. We are going to see an Ego Rift Herald. And we did. It was a new type of Ego Rift Herald, but an Ego Rift Herald nonetheless.
It's great. We have the Ego Rift Herald Mark II. It's the Shelly of Rift Heralds, you know, of Ego Heralds, I guess. A Shelly of Ego Heralds, the original. Anyway, that doesn't matter. It's a dragon for Cerberus and a topside push for the side of GAM. They're going to try and cross map. Rocket hits Ego, but he's far enough away that the splash doesn't get it.
Ooh, Grand Entrance now on cooldown, and Starl has just reset. Zin can use the ult, but everyone is coming for you. Rono B just gonna tank under tower. No way he survives.
No.
Artemis will get the kill. Will tank one tower shot. Featherstorm keeps the ADC alive.
Not Shanji.
Shanji?
Pun got a kill on Levi in the top lane.
Oh,
top
is he
side.
solo killing?
Yeah.
3 solo kills in 1 game, fair enough.
How does this... Okay, he just finds him and Levi is very far behind him. Oh, no, that's extra unlucky for the side of Levi. The animation of the cease and desist kept him in the flame spitter the entire time, so he just roasted alive.
He roasted himself to a crisp.
Yeah. That's highly unfortunate for Levi. He was not having the best game on the Vi. Once again, as I said, nobody seems to have a good game on the Vi in the VCS. They just can't quite seem to put it together. The champion is not quite... No, it's not what they used to. I cannot think of a reason why they continue to have such poor performances, but Style is comfortable in the mid lane, pushing on up into Yado. And he doesn't have the best wave clear, especially this early on before the Rod of Ages is going well, but okay.
Ooh, good stopwatch. I don't know if the Mega Death Rocket would have been enough to get a kill, but what we do know is Yado is still alive. Now, I've got another milky stat for you, Marby. This split, Levi has played a total of 2, 4, 6, 8, 9 junglers. As I just hold that thought for a moment. Oh, a lot of damage from the feathers onto Style. Yado stepping forward, has a flash available. The outer tower will fall in favor of Cerberus. So, Levi has played 9 unique junglers this split. He has lost on 7 of those junglers once. Which are the 2 junglers that he has not lost a game on yet?
There's...
Or maybe lost more than a game.
No, he lost the Rumble game.
He did lose the Rumble game. Very good memory.
I'm trying to remember. That was the 50-minute Flash extravaganza against Flash. I will never forget that game. I'm not.
Would you like a hint?
I'm not sure. I'm trying to remember what champions he's played.
Would you like a hint?
I'm gonna say Vi is one of them.
Vi, he's lost the perfect 1 game on, so it's not Vi.
Oh right, yeah, no, I'm trying to say the ones he hasn't lost on. Whoops.
Oh, okay.
Crap, I forgot. Xin Zhao?
He's not played a game of Xin Zhao this split.
Who have you played? Damn it, Levi, I give up.
So, one is the Nidalee. He's got 1 game on it, which he won. And the other one is the Nocturne, which he's also got 1 on 1.
Yes. It's sort of interesting that no
Oh,
matter what,
bit of a
Levi can
catch
play
here.
farm.
As GAM
Okay.
try to find the engage onto Cerberus, but Ego will survive through it all. And how big can Pun be? Equalizer still on cooldown. Cerberus will make their way out as the Rift Herald gets another charge onto the inner tower. And Drake up in 1 minute's time. That's going to give Cerberus plenty of time to reset and return for the Drake.
Yeah, okay, but kind of missed that. But it also almost looked like it was Cerberus sort of trying to start things up. It's still a minute till Dragon, so these resets coming in from GAM are fine. It's going to give Cerberus a bit of control, but not enough for them to hold on to, because they're going to need to get resets of their own in at some point beforehand. It nets them a Rift Scuttler, which will mean that GAM can't black this area out completely. But just interesting. A lot of flashes blown, a lot of ults blown, but it's a win for GAM at the moment, because they've got pretty much all their summon spells except Levi's flash. Ego and Yardo both missing theirs, but so Nuta's the ability for the flash tip is it makes Ego a little bit easier to catch onto and explode. Let's see how this next fight plays out. Gold is still dead even, and that's with a 5-kill advantage to the side of Cerberus. It's just GAM finding more gold, finding more minions, finding a little bit extra here and there to keep it above Cerberus.
And both teams have been able to get all 3 outer towers. Drake now sporting. Look at the Pun V9 angle. Ego trying to come from the side, looking for Carti. Pops the Banshee's Veil. And GAM making their retreat as Cerberus push on into the river. Stahl and Levi, though, still focusing down this Ocean Drake, second Drake for either team. Keep an eye out for Pun. That big equalizer could be a turning point in the fight. 4-0 on the Rumble, and it might just zone members of GAM away from this fight. Ron OP already being chunked down low, making his way now towards Levi, but GAM instantly into the pit, and they decimate the cow. Some beautiful steak for them. Although is forced out of this fight, and Pun is just doing so much damage with a flame spitter. Turns it into a 1-for-1. Style on the run lands a zap, but will fall. Double kill for Ego and 3 kills for Cerberus.
Yep, okay, Pun's just a god, because that started off really bad for the side of Cerberus. It kind of looked like they were just getting sort of torn apart, but Pun jumping on top of Style forces him pretty much out of the fight immediately. But the fight when they're actually going to get onto Baron, we can talk about the fight when the replay comes. There's going to be a teleport in from Kiaya. Zin's coming along soon. Okay, they're not actually going to try and throw poke in or try and dissuade them at all. They're just going to try and push a mid lane tower in response. That's nice play, decent play from Kiaya, going to get some gold back, get some pressure on the map. And this equalizer looks kind of weak from the side of Pun, and then Ron OP just sort of walks in and dies instantly. Zin kind of gets a huge chunk down onto Ego, and the fight goes off pretty damn heavy in the backside while Style is zoned out. And it looks like they're about to win, but then Ego finds a reset. Pun joins the bulk of it, cuts down the rest of the team, and eventually they have enough to chase down Style, and that's a big win for the side of Cerberus, despite GAM walking away with the dragon.
They lose the battle of the Drake, but they win the war of the Drake. 10 kills to 3, and Cerberus now find themselves with more of a significant goal lead, and for what feels like the first time in this game. Now 1,500 gold ahead as GAM are finding a pick. Ego, though, goes gold, and Zin taking a lot of damage. Yardo almost able to get the kill, but it's a shutdown for Kiaya. And now they're looking for more. Can Cerberus turn this around, because Artemis has been untouched? Gale forcing forward, looking for Star, just about surviving. Cerberus is so low, and Cerberus will get wiped. GAM somehow find 5 kills for 1 out of absolutely nowhere.
They kite that out so beautifully, and with this push, with this tower setup, and okay, they get the kick onto Ego pretty quickly. Zin, though, look, he gets away. He sneaks his way around the back, and he just kind of lurks. He just lurks over this red buff wall, and then when Cerberus steps forward, flash W straight onto Artemis, puts him into a position where he's in danger as he moves forward to try and catch Style, get that last bit of damage Style just out of range, lets the collapse come back through from Cardi and Kiaya, overextended Zaya, and they pull it down. They get an inhibitor turret as the reward on top of the ace. And now gold is in the favor of GAM, and control of the game pretty much should be as well.
The Baron buff denied, and the goal advantage that Cerberus briefly had also denied. Is now GAM, who find themselves with a 2,000 gold lead, and they might be extending that even further as the pun has been caught in the top lane, and maybe the pun v9 angle is starting to wither away.
First death is always the hardest, the rest follow just one after the other. Poor pun. He's playing so well, but he just in that fight, which he got outplayed by GAM, gave over a huge shutdown to Kiaya, and now there's enough resistance and enough health on Levi that he can kind of sort of tank up pun in the 1v1, in the 2v1 rather, no turret to bail him out this time. And GAM starting to control the sideline, starting to control the pressure. They can't quite put that stamp down that we know from GAM because they don't have the Baron. It's usually that first Baron they get a hold of that ends games almost every time, but they've picked up so much momentum, so much control that they're putting on the pressure as if they had this lead the entire game.
Something else I want to talk about is Carti. He's got nearly a flame horizon over Yado, and I think this is a good opportunity to talk about Carti's split as a whole, because whenever I'm casting VCS, right, for the last 2 or 3 splits, Carti always seems to be not particularly good in regular season. He's not bad, but he's not good. And then come playoffs, he really levels up. This is the first time that I think Carti, for the majority of the split, has been performing at such a high level.
Yeah, his role in GAM has sort of been a little bit laid back, but you're right. He's definitely never been. He sort of hasn't, especially in late 2021 and 2022. He sort of struggled to really come online during the regular seasons, especially the start. He'd ramp up very well, but this time it's been kind of. I'm not sure if it's the shift in style, shift in attitude on the team, but it's kind of let Cardi go, okay, I'm here for the full aggression. I want to be all in all the time, and he's really thrived in this split specifically, and I'm not quite sure what's caused this. So he's decided to take this one a lot more seriously or something, but he's come alive this split. He's been one of GAM's best players. He's been the reason for their success behind Levi. And okay, he might be.
They found Carti though. Carti goes golden 2-man knockup from GAM, and the Cerberus Death Brush is really not working out. Big burn onto Style. Tip is doing work, but not quite enough, and somehow nobody dies in the altercation.
Yeah, Kiaya gets the split push. Cardi, we talked him up a little bit too much that he nearly got picked off, but apparently we didn't talk him up enough because he is a-okay. GAM was able to bail him out. They have the pressure on the bot lane, get some gold into the pockets of Kiaya. Just waiting for 35 seconds, wait for that next Baron. Going to likely be a decent fight. So we'd love to see the item break points, but it's a 4,000 gold lead for GAM, so they should have a decent advantage coming into it. I just want to see, is GAM, where are we at with the item break points? Okay, GAM style still at least a while away from that Infinity Edge. Could be a difference maker as Artemis has those quick blades in pocket, has a... Oh, hold on.
Carti may be overstepping. Everfrost locks ego in place. Cerberus will
huge.
back away, but Carti chunked down so low.
Okay.
Maybe Cerberus on the front foot, although that shock blast might just turn Cerberus, or change Cerberus's mind about aggressing further.
Yeah, Cardi able to actually just reset with that teleport means that it's not that bad. But now we're waiting. Yado's ultimate is just going to be up now, but these shock blasts from Kiaya, once again, we're seeing a Jace sort of rain hell from afar, and it's making the approach from the enemy team so much harder. Ego has managed to scrounge back a bit of health, so is Pun, but these resources that are going to let them heal us fewer and further between. Ron's just going to die.
Yeah, he's been caught, still has a flash available. In he goes, finds a two-man knockup, but Pun doesn't have the damage, and Cerberus are just forced away as GAM kite the
Oh my
fight
God.
so well. It is ridiculous. Cease and desist into the backline from Levi. Down goes Artemis, a double kill for the GAM. Jungler, style free hits, an ace for the side of GAM, and they might just end the game now.
That's sure to be it, as long as they can keep the minions alive. And Levi is probably more than happy to tank it up. His death timers are so long. Ronopi is up in 10 seconds. Maybe he can stall it out long enough if he gets onto that wave, but it does not look like it will be the case. There's too much damage on GAM. This is going to be game one, ended very quickly.
Cerberus put up a good showing for the start of the game, but in the end, GAM turned things around, and GAM look to continue their winning streak as they take game one over Cerberus.
And this was a pretty. It started so well from Cerberus, but it just seems to be that seems to be the typical repeat tale of GAM games. They don't have the best early game. There are exploitations. There are moments where the other team do shine, but they team fight so well. They play so well in the mid game. We're gonna see a bit of damage. Pun did a hell of a lot of damage. I have to say, all that gold lead was off the back of Pun, but my God, just was not able to, but the rest of the team kind of let him down. It was these team fights. It's not necessarily their fault. GAM played it out so damn beautifully, both times kiting back and then re-engaging with Xin. Just beautiful, fantastic, love to see it. That sort of team fighting gives you so much hope for future, I guess, international performances from GAM, because we kind of assume they're going to be at Worlds at least with the 2 seeds. So nice showing from GAM. It was a decent showing from Cerberus, but we're gonna have to see if in game 2 they can actually get it together and hold on to that sort of lead.
And this is starting to remind me again, and I think I brought it up earlier in the season, of, again, 2021 GAM plot armor. Even when it looks like they're going to lose, even when everything's going against them, plot armor comes in, and they're able to then win the game, win the series through sheer magic. Main character vibes. GAM with a very good game, at least after they fail that top lane dive. A very good game. And with that, we're going to head into a break, and we're going to return shortly for our second game between GAM and Cerberus.
Is the dream still alive? Still the image of perfection? Sweet little delight, a happy disaster, an easy lie. What sometimes hurt, befriends rejection. It's kinda rich, I know, when you're the one denied. Is this a role or disguise? Seeking mercy in creation. Just another device, or truly a time when we will rise. Oh, one and all to the occasion, and bridge the gap to see the other side. What day and night become vertigo. You still light up my soul like a battered halo. We're on alright, we go on with the show, looking for something more, chasing echoes. Are you really surprised to hear the daydream shop went bankrupt? Truly beside yourself, 'cause the carnival closed down. When the show suddenly stops, no matter how much you got, it's still cold out here alone. What day and night become vertigo. You still light up my soul like a battered halo. We're on alright, we go on with the show, looking for something more, chasing echoes. Pleasure hides within meanings lost, looking for a quick fix, fulfillment fast lane. Pleasure lies about the cost of keeping the dream alive, alive.
Wow, Marby, we're having a really fast day today.
Yeah, so don't worry. Joke was a producer. Yeah. So far we've got GAM off to a good lead. That's to be expected. They are the favorite. But the thing is, it's pretty typical GAM. They fall behind in the early game, and they come back in a great team fight late game. And I feel like we definitely saw some things that were a bit unusual, especially Levi. Levi is not comfortable on this Vi. They played it once before, they lost on it. This time they won, but they kind of got carried pretty hard. So we need to see a little bit of something else from Levi. I mean, the 13 games on Wukong is certainly something. But we know he can play other champions. He's been playing for years. And
Ooh.
come
He's
on.
not played Karthus yet this split, and we do like some Levi Karthus.
Karthus isn't really that good at the moment. It's not really. It's especially considering the jungle or what it's up against. If Lee Sin gets on top of them, can definitely find the angle to just kill it over and over. But we're into game 2. Blue side now for GAM. Despite everything, I mean, blue side is stronger in the meta, obviously, but it's important. Mostly comes in as an importance here because red side for the side of Cerberus is not hot. It's not their best right now. So
Okay.
this could be a 2-0 based on that. They tend to win a lot on blue side. They've lost 1 game overall on blue side before this series. They've lost 10 on red side. This is where they lose.
Wait, GAM have lost 10 on red side, or Cerberus have lost?
No,
10?
Cerberus.
Ah,
has lost
okay.
10 on red side. GAM have lost pretty even on both sides.
Total of 7 game losses. Cerberus, though, first picking up the Ricard and... Oh, sorry, GAM picking up the Ricard and Cerberus saying, hey, if you guys want to take a Zaya, you go for it. We're going to lock in the Sejuani for Ego, and we're going to take the Aphelios for Artemis.
Yeah, they sort of saw what Jinx was doing, like, for the side of... Style, and kind of wanted to just put a stop to that straight away, picking up the Aphelios with the intention to be pretty strong at all points of the game. And Levi, come on, buddy, play something you're good at. But now Style's gonna pick his choice of ADC. Both Zeri, and Jinx are great late game scalers. Could play the Zaya, but decides nope, just gonna run the Jinx back. It's been working fantastically for him so far.
We'll see whether Artemis can match Styles' Jinx here in game 2. We know how good Artemis is as an ADC, no matter what he gets put on. We know how good Ron OP is on engaged champions, and Thresh is most certainly one of those picks. And this is looking like a very scary bottom lane, not just for the GAM duo, but also for Cerberus.
Yeah, Ron on his Thresh, it's pretty famous. This is the champion he's sort of known for, other than, I guess, say, Alistair? I don't know.
Yeah.
But Ron OP's Thresh is pretty nasty. He can put this to work. And now we're on to round 2 bans. Kennen taken away from Kiaya makes a lot of sense. It's been something that he has been playing on repeat every time he gets the chance. And the Silas ban from GAM makes me feel there's something coming, something rocky along the way. Because I'm feeling a mouth fight's gonna come out from the side of GAM if Pun doesn't want to snag it straight away. Maybe this is trying to bait out the rock, and then GAM has something prepared for it. Ooh. That's not a rock, that's a Yone.
That is a Yone. It could still be a rock to finish off the composition for the side of Cerberus. GAM, though, looking towards this Renekton for Kiaya. Champion that Kiaya's only had 1 game on, wasn't able to win that game, and the Renekton not yet locked in, but that Silas ban did have Malphite written all over it, and it might just get picked up.
I told you it was going to be the rock. Now, this might have been a preemptive counter into the rock. Here's a little bit
Two rocks.
Strange one. Rock and person to throw rock. It's a great combination. Or it might not be. Should be. There it is. That's the lock-in. I'm interested to see where this Yone would go. It feels like it wouldn't do super great into Talia, but you know, you don't necessarily want to be building ADs, sort of playing squishy AD champions into a Malphite. So we're left wondering where Pun goes with it. When might make the most sense as a direct counter pick? And that's where they are going to go. That's how they're going to punch it. Surprisingly, not going for things like I don't know, like maybe even a Rumble or something, or a tank of their own. Tanks are actually really good into Malphite, but they've decided to just go for the Gwen instead.
I do like a bit of Cho'Gath, a bit of Scion. Both have been kind of
Ornn?
popping up in the meta. Ornn. Oh, I've not seen Ornn in such a long time, Marby. Why would you bring up Ornn? I really want to see an Ornn.
I mean,
Why
we
would you
saw
do
an
that
Ornn
today?
into the Malphite matchup last week, but yeah, no, and like Pun is a really good Ornn player, so I feel like that would have been an option too. But yeah, just going for the Gwen, which is unusual for the player, but seems to make a lot of sense. But I still once again sort of feel like GAM got exactly what they wanted. They telegraphed the Malphite from a mile away and then just got it with no real actual response coming out from the side of Cerberus.
Marby, it's Milky stat time. Today, we're going to be talking about Talia. How many games in his career
Oh my
do
god.
you think Carty has on Talia, and what is its win rate?
You're only bringing that up because it's probably
surprising.
absurdly low.
Or is it absurdly high?
Feeling absurdly low considering we have that big period of time where Cardi would only play melee mid laners. And also in a huge period of time where Talia just wasn't playable in the mid lane. So I'm gonna say 10 at a win rate of 80%.
Ooh, 10 at a win rate of 80%. You're completely off. He's got 4
Yeah.
games on Talia, and he hasn't won one of them.
He hasn't won it.
He hasn't won any. It's actually, in terms of
What?
KDA, it is pretty much his worst performing champion that he has, with an average KDA of 1.6. The only champions lower are one, which is Irelia and Swain, based off one game, so I'm not really counting them. So this is, well, an important game for Carty to gain some competitive performance, or competitive confidence on this Talia champion.
Well, how is he so bad at Talia?
I don't know.
What?
Huh?
No, okay, interesting. That's, well, we're gonna have to see if they can turn that around, or if this is gonna go, or if the trend is going to continue. Has a bit of extra rock behind him this time around with Kiara on the top side. But just pretty basic starts coming out from both junglers. Going to be spotted straight away is Levi, so gonna have to see how they use this information, as Raptor starts is the name of the game, with these little jungle pets doing so much damage to the creeps, and both these champions are having pretty solid AoE clears. But okay, into this Yone. This is not a champion on the other side that we'd associate that much with Yado either. I don't know if he's actually ever played the Yone. He probably has played at least one game. Yep, I looked it up.
Ooh.
One game of Yone.
That's like my entire job on a broadcast, Barbie, is to like check up cool stats. And you're taking that from me. So instead, I'm going to throw you back another stat, which is going to be the 4 games that Carty has played. 2 of them were against Saigon Buffalo. So all 4 of these games were last year in 2022. 2 of the games were against Saigon Buffalo. 1 game was against Team Wales. And as I mentioned before, Carty lost all of them. His 4th game was actually probably his best performance on Talia. Who do you think that game was against?
So Buffalo, Wales, teams that GAM lost games to. So that's kind of fairly big number. I imagine it's going to be one of the strange ones. Maybe, did they lose a game to Genius at all?
Not even close.
No. Okay. Team Secret.
Wrong. DRX at Worlds. Ego, though, goes over the wall and is looking towards Levi. He wants to steal away a Gromp, and I don't think he did. He'll then whack Levi with the Winter's Wrath and say, well, I'm going to take your blue buff then.
Yeah, this is a much better prize. Picking up a blue buff, getting Yado even to come in and assist with that. So, just actually a huge lead coming on out for the side of Ego, being able to play off this mid lane pressure extremely well. And even top lane pressure as well, because Kiaya cannot stand up to pun in these early trades. Has to slowly sort of stack up some health with this Grasp of the Undying, and playing into a Gwen, playing into all this AP damage is gonna be a little bit counterintuitive to what a Malphite really wants to do in his Heart of Hearts, which is build a lot of armor. Can still get a decent amount of value out of, say, the plated steel caps, but yeah, he might have to look a little bit closer to something along the lines of the Abyssal Mask, maybe, as an option for some AP, just to keep himself a little bit topped up. Is Yana going quite aggressive? Ron, OP, and Ego just hanging out in the area. They're putting all their attention onto putting Levi rather in the dirt and making sure he can't get any impact going on this Vi, and it's just going to end up being a bit of a squishy thing that goes in and dies instantly.
Yeah, we might have a bit of a dance around the Drake as well. Infernal spawning in 20 seconds time. The first Drake of the game. And no particular prio for either side. That being said, though, Style has just got off his reset a little bit after Artemis, so has got a full Noon Quiver picked up.
Yeah, just gonna have a small advantage in the matchup, but it shouldn't really amount to too much. Should be balanced out pretty evenly by the supports. Those Steel Shoulder Guards are gonna do a little bit more than a Relic Shield will for Zen overall, but in a straight up 2v2.
Steel Shoulder Guards the way for Thresh? I always thought it was Relic Shield you go.
It depends. Are you playing for lane pressure or are you playing for scaling? Yeah, that's pretty much what it comes down to. Because if you're playing for lane, those AD, the AD is gonna help a lot. It's gonna boost up your Flay passive a little bit. It's gonna help you to whack people a lot more with your auto attacks, with range, especially in matchups against things that are actually melee. Sin's sort of that pseudo range like Thresh, so it's not too bad. But yeah, if you want lane pressure, you go for the Steel Shoulder Gun.
Well, Cerberus 1-2 kill in the mid lane, and surely, the final tower shot! First blood for Kati.
Ego fluffed it pretty bad. Not much you can say that. I mean, good play from Cardi as he's going to get another knockback. Not quite under tower. Okay, Cardi might have killed himself.
No. Kati will take that. Kati will take 2 for 1 in the mid lane. 2 kills on the Tilia. Lost chapter completed. Actually, he sells the lost chapter and goes for Lucidity Boots.
Yeah, and I mean, they waited long enough that Yado didn't get the assist gold either, so it's even better. And yeah, Ego just shorts the flash, and Yado walks up a little bit too early and starts to be the one who tanks aggro, not Ego, who is significantly tankier member. This time around, Cardi knocks Ego into him, walks up a bit too close to land the threat of volley, and gives Ego the opportunity to land the damage, which passes the kill over, but trades back under tower, so not too bad from Cardi.
Carti's actually quite unlucky, because if it wasn't for the range of the permafrost and the fact that Ego can cast it from a million miles away, Carti would have actually survived that. Now, Yada maybe stepping a bit too far forward, does have some support from Ego, who's hovering around. But Carti's
sure in a position.
Oh, Glacial Prison right into the Fate Sealed, and that's going to be a kill going the way of Cerberus. Ego takes a lot of damage from the tower shot, and Levi finds a kill onto Yado. So 1 for 1 in the mid lane.
Yeah, Ego actually finding an experience advantage because he hung around in the mid lane for so damn long. He was able to get that level 6 early. That kill also doing him a number of favors. Trades 1 for 1 overall. Both junglers picking up the kills is pretty fine for GAM. They're going to lose a few minions under tower, rather Levi will pick up a couple of them, but so it's a small win overall coming up from Cerberus, just on basis of crashing the waves and denying a little bit more XP, but the trade is still so even enough that GAM's not worried at all. Now Ego just everywhere. He wants to just maybe make another play onto Kiaya if Kiaya rocks up. has ultimate available, so shouldn't be able to get a kill down onto the Malphite. But
Levi's
just
making
wants to
his
perhaps
way
pressure it
here.
out before this Herald.
This is a 2v2, and Carty's made his way up to the top side. Really nice seismic shove. Lantern, though, takes Ego out to safety.
Ego.
Is one going to be able to get the kill? Takes damage from the Super Mega Death Rocket. And somehow, Hun gets a kill before his life flashes before his eyes. A 1-for-1 in the top lane.
Yeah, that should still be, though, GAM in a position to pick up this Rift Herald, maybe? Maybe not, though, but yeah, this was just a plan to try and get Kiai's ultimate out, maybe force him away from this Rift Herald fight, but they didn't expect Levi to be in the area, and of course, Cardi can close the distance so quickly with Weaver's Wall. Run being in a great position to save Ego, but Hun is left to his fate, and he's lucky enough that he can take one with him. Earlier resets come through from Cerberus, so they actually get position on the Rift Herald. This probably just has to be given up for free, and GAM is in no place to respond with tower plates on the other side of the map, so this is a really nice pickup for Cerberus. Gonna take this pretty much free and uncontested, and maybe even Hun getting some free plates as well, just winning out everywhere.
So it's now time, Arby, for your second favorite time of the day. Actually, never mind. We're going to have to hold that thought because Carty being dived on in the top lane. Ego has the Glacial Prison available, and it is indeed a dive Carty time. Ronopi just hovering over the wall. Has flash available. Rift Herald will be used. No Ego Rift Herald this time around. What can Carty do? Zin is just hovering around. Has the quickness available. Cerberus are just going to peace out.
Artemis couldn't get the auto down, so it's actually all the gold going on to Ego. Back just gonna get stumped there by Style, just being a little cheeky fella. So overall, it's actually gold, pretty much gold traded onto Malphite for gold traded onto Sejuani, which is completely fine. Artemis didn't get any. Style got to sort of just AFK push in the mid lane. Nothing really came out of that, and now GAM has an angle onto the dragon setup, and if they can start this stack, that's gonna be really good for them.
That being said, Artemis has just reset. It's making its way down towards the bottom side, and now it's Cerberus who have control over the river, and Cerberus looking for their first Drake of the game to tie up the Drake score 1-1 gold, dead even between the two teams, which is pretty much how it was in the first game of this series as well. Yeah,
just it is still Ego and Cerberus making the plays first. They are pretty much outpacing their Sejuani, this vibe quite a lot, and that's saying something. It's usually Levi that sort of controls the pace, who's usually present on objectives or active to counter ganks, etc., etc. It hasn't really shown up this series, and Ego has definitely skipped a few camps to try and make that happen, but he's kept close enough that it's not really been an issue. And now, it's still so damn close. It's still so even. Just waiting for something to happen.
Really nice death sentence into the Glacial Prison, and there's absolutely nothing that Levi can do, but GAM want to take this fight nonetheless. Lantern, though, takes Ego out to safety, and Cerberus will take their single kill, and they will make their merry way back to safety.
Why did Stav just point blank an ultimate into a full health Sejuani with passive? That was a choice. And now Malphite teleported. Wow, that was a. GAM was looking for something that just didn't happen. Now Pun gets free reign with the tower. They wasted so much time, and now they're gonna reset in the face of an Aphelios. No wave, so not actually gonna be all that bad. They're gonna keep some plates. They should be able to get there to contest that at least, but okay, Yada's going on to Cardi.
Trading hard, jumps back, uses the Fate Seal to pull the Vi all the way under his tower, knocked out of his tower, but here comes Ego. Yada trying to sidestep on the threaded volley. Somehow still alive, and it's all on Ego, but it's the 1v3. Zin to the rescue. Levi will survive, and Zin deservedly claims the shutdown goal.
I mean, look, I'm just saying, if Cardi had gone for the Leandri's build, which is the thing you should be doing, that would be a dead Yado, but Levi's
But would he have had
away on the skin of his teeth. Wait, what?
Would he have had the mana to do it?
Probably. Lost Chapter does a lot of work.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's Kiara's now has a Jack show and can stand in the face of people, and Yado just goes hard onto Guardian. Works very well, but the Souls Unbound, the Fate Unsealed brings Levi so far back. Can't quite land the final bits of damage Kenkadi, and I'm flabbergasted that Levi actually survived this. The heal, the Gleaming
Two
Quill
shields
coming in
and a
clutch.
heal, yeah.
That's the Gleaming Quill buffs that you don't that you thought didn't actually do anything coming in clutch there.
Might be paired as well with a Revitalize, some extra healing as well then for Zin, because he has gone Resolve in the secondary tree. Right, I have a very final stat for you, Marby. I promise I won't do another one this game. How many career games do you think Ego has on Sejuani, and what do you think his win rate is?
Sejuani. I don't think he has very many. I think this is... Hold that. No, I'll just alt to safety. I think this might be his first. I don't think Sejuani was particularly meta when in the last splits he played. And this is his first one of the splits, so... First game.
You know what? 50 points to Gryffindor. It is his first ever game. Engage coming through, though, from GAM under tower. Here comes Ego. Very nice Glacial Prism, but Starla able to get one kill already. And now Ego in a
Just
1v4, trying to get the minion wave as quickly as possible. Seismic shoved out of tower. Someone buffed the tower, did no damage at all.
Yeah, but he did the job he came to do. He bought so much time for White Gun Aphelios to tear through the mid bot lane tower, get first brick. Now he's going to tear through a bottom tower as well, because Aphelios is a good design. And then he just did 200 years on 2 turrets. 100 years of turret. What a guy. What an Aphelios. Look at that.
After all of that, the gold is dead even, but critically it is Artemis who has a lot of gold, which is the exact opposite of what we saw in the previous game, where Artemis was very gold starved. And let's not forget, by most standards, we'd say that Artemis is probably the biggest veteran and the consistently highest performing ADC in the league.
Yeah, this was a pretty decent effort from OP to try and to save Yado, and he does the job. He saves him pretty well, but then Ego works hard to destroy the wave so they can't kill the tower. It means he trades his life for it, but it serves the purpose. It buys the time. Man, the nerves of Yado there. Did not cancel the bag, just kept it going. He knew he was safe, man. God damn. Anyway, Dragon for GAM, they're doing alright. They're happy. They've gotten control of the mid lane towers. They're feeling pretty comfy with this ability to push into an objective. The Ego is here. Make his way into the pit.
Definitely want to contest this. There is the Lantern available. Drake, though, secured by Style. As in comes Yado from the side. Yado flashes back, takes a lot of damage, and is burning down. Tries to heal up off the blue buff. Will survive, but there is a fight going on the river still. Ego will eventually die, and Style is excited. Throws out the autos. Levi almost falls to pun, but in the end, it is just GAM who pick themselves up 3 kills for nothing. Or 3 kills for 1.
Trying to start that fight after the dragon fall. Well, admittedly they tried to start it before the dragon fell down, but with that dragon going down to the side of GAM, it meant that Jinx was just excited the whole damn time. It's actually the zap clipping the wing of the dragon that gets the final kill. Yado does their best to try and kill Jinx, but she's just pumping out so much damage. Gets the kill onto Ron P, which cancels out the box effect. Lets her just wreak havoc onto these members. Aphelios dips because, fair enough, but that's 3 kills and pretty much almost a 4th onto Yado. That means that GAM just full control. Pick up another dragon. They're well on their way to knocking this out of the park, and that's a lot of damage from a Jinx.
That's a lot of damage as well from Pun, when you think about it, 3.1k.
How did Yado do so little? I swear he was kind of sitting on, kind of got on top of Jinx, but...
I think Zin might have exhausted him.
Yeah, that must be it. That's the only reason that makes sense, other than he whipped everything, but...
Even if
Man,
Exhaust has what, 50% damage reduction? Something like that?
yeah.
Would have done what,
Interesting.
500 damage? Which
Yeah,
isn't
that's,
exactly a lot anyway.
Yeah, not looking good. Anyway, here's a teleport from the Rock. He's gonna come try and put Yardo in his place.
Yada tries to get
Oh,
over the Weaver's wall unsuccessfully. There's a lantern able to get out just before Levi cancels it with the BQ.
Yeah, can't quite get on top of it. Didn't put a control ward down. So misplay by the side of GAM. And unfortunately, with Aphelios kind of smashing out that bot lane so quickly, it now means that Pun's split push attempts kind of are not going to amount to a hell of a lot, because he can't really push all the way up into inhibitor tower. He really would ideally want to be on the top side split pushing, but that's where the state of the game is. Everybody's up around the Baron pit. That's an interrupt onto Xin. Should be okay with that Battle Dancing Grand Entrance combo, but now Pun's looking for the flank. But it is just
And let's not forget,
can't CC anyone in place.
Cerberus aren't in a terrible situation. Yes, they're 4 kills down. They've only got 1 Drake compared to 2. But in terms of gold, which is what really matters, they are 1,500 gold down. And Artemis does have a fair bit of gold, even if Style is 2-0 and 4 and has an item advantage right now. Artemis should be completing what I think is going to be an Infinity Edge relatively soon.
Yeah, it's sort of going to be interesting to see a gold spread, because from last time we saw the gold, which was admittedly a while ago, Yardo was so far in the dirt. Ego was above him in gold. Pretty much everybody except the supports had more gold in them than Yardo, and he hasn't really improved his situation much since then. So this unit is completely anemic and not able to be that threat onto Jinx that GAM really wants it to be. Of course, GAM's still a while away from Infinity Edge of their own, so could be an opportunity if Artemis wants to go into the Infinity Edge second to out damage and do more on the team fight than Style, but very likely just going to go with the Bloodthirster. That seems to be the typical play, which will keep him safe, if nothing else. Nope, he decides for damage. Love to see it.
Ever since you said that Yardo is a bit anemic, I've been trying to think, how do you get rid of anemia? And I think it's you need to get iron, right?
Yep.
Which you can't really use for League, because that means you've got to get down into iron, which is not exactly where you want to be.
Well, if we mix our references and our medias, we
Get
could
some
say
Minecraft?
get some iron price going, start paying the iron price and getting some gold going.
Yep.
Get some gold income going from that. Basically kill people. That's what Yardo
it works well as a
kill
Vladimir
someone.
reference, right? Because you get to transfuse some blood in, get some iron through like that. But no Vladimir in this game. GAM setting up in the bottom side river as they're looking to pick up the Drake, and our Cerberus saying, okay, you take the Drake, we're going to try to rush down the Baron. I don't know if they have the damage to do this.
Artemis is a little bit too slow. Doesn't have the right guns for it either. Actually just swapped out the green gun. You want the green-white to take the Baron. They're gonna chunk it down to half health. Jinx still on the way, but they're gonna turn onto Pun. Maybe this buys
And it's
enough
just
space.
by time being forced away. Now the Baron down to 2,000. Style has already used the Super Mega Death Rocket. Baron has been secured, but can Cerberus escape? This is the most important part. The quickness has been used by Xin. Forced to dash away. The Permafrost can get procced as well, but look who's coming on the side. It's Kiaya. No ultimate available. Grab Moonlight Vigil will land on it to a Levi. Can they get the kill? As desperately Artemis is trying to cut away. Can't do so successfully, and Ego is the only member left standing. Cerberus will get 1 kill, trying to sidestep the seismic shot, flashes over the wall. Ego will survive with the Baron buff.
That's what you think. Ron also snuck away. he managed to sneak his way out of it. They're not going to be able to take this tower. They don't have the wave, but just a bit of a disaster. It worked out much better than it probably should have, because Pun was able to buy so much time on the back. But it's still Soul Point, it's still a lot of kills. And we see Yardo going over the edge of the pit to maybe try and dissuade Levi, but they commit everything to kill Pun. And it's a bit of a strange decision, I have to say, committing both the cease and desist and the unstoppable force, because if you had either of those, and oh, that's unlucky from Kiaya getting cut off by the Weaver's Wall, but if they had these ultimates, they probably could have made this fight so much better. They probably could have cleaned it up. Yeah, Pun might have survived on the backside, and I guess trying to take that split pusher away is good, but I feel like this cleanup could have been better. That could have turned into much more of a concentrated push that they could capitalize on with those kills by cleaning them up faster.
And let's not forget, this is Hextech Drakes as well for GAM, and that's going to be very nice for the like Island Kati throwing out those rockets. Glacial Prison looking for Star. Can they get on top of the Jinx? No, they can't, but they do get the flash out of style.
Yeah, Flash Force for very little. Now they have a good position to try and cap out Kati. Good seismic shove, and he should be able to get away with that with no Glacial Prison. But Malphite has decided to take up split pushing. He's going to hit these turrets down, and this is working out well. GAM constantly playing the map, and while Cerberus struggle and try and find picks, try and make something happen. Because the Baron buffs have wound up on Ron OP and on Ego, they don't really want to sit these two players in lanes and just do nothing with them. So they've instead decided to do nothing with everybody and give GAM the opportunity to take down two turrets. It's now a negative like 700 Baron power play. That's not looking good for the side of Cerberus.
And Cerberus are currently looking at picking up their second ever loss over on Red side, was it that you were saying?
Well, no.
Oh, the other way around. Okay.
Other way around. They lose a lot
lost.
on Red side.
Engage from GAM, and Cerberus, as I'll change that, are looking at yet another loss over on Red side, and it might be coming very, very imminently as GAM will crack open the Cerberus base at 25 minutes. Inhibitor down, and they will keep on pushing forward. Can Cerberus keep their base alive? Yada going in with a play. Can he jump back? He can indeed, taking a lot of damage. But can he get to his Nexus in time? He can indeed. And Cerberus will just about keep their Nexus tower standing.
Yeah, they did enough damage to not just the champions of GAM, they also destroyed the wave. It means that they can't keep the push up. Pun being able to shred through Kiaya means that he has to be wary that he can't just stand there and take turrets forever to keep minions alive. But there was enough. They break the inhibitor open. They back off now, and this is such a big engage from the top side of GAM, and Jinx is just in the perfect spot to capitalize on it, pick that up, knock down some turrets, and they push a little bit too much, but that's fine. They're more than happy to do that. It's just Kiaya dead, and Kiaya has a teleport, so they can come contest this dragon if they need to, when they want to. And there's the teleport. Perfect angle from Kiaya.
And Cerberus really need to get this Drake. They need to deny it. Death sentence is going to land. Oh, the Glacial Prison narrowly misses in. And now Cerberus are back to wait. Yeah, you can take the Drake if you want, but GAM are going to end the game. And if you reset, GAM are then just going to make their way straight over to the Drake, or maybe they'll just end the game. What can Cerberus do? Nearly 27 minutes in the turn towards Ron OP, throws out a flay, doesn't find anyone. Artemis so far untouched, but now being zoned away from the fight by Kiaya, and GAM are just handedly winning this fight. Great zap from Style to pick off the stragglers. Artemis Gale forces forward, find one kill, flashes forward, but just cannot find the Chakrams. It's a triple kill for Style, and it is 4 kills for GAM as they will take down the final Nexus Tower, and the undefeated run for GAM will continue as they will take their 12th win of the VCS Spring Split.
Nice, easy cleanup. They ran it. They set it up beautifully. They knew with that mid-wave pressure, they didn't have to contest the dragon all that much. The teleport from Kiaya to make the threats made Cerberus a little bit antsy, made them pull off, made them have to think about what they wanted to do. And then GAM just pushed it up straight through mid lane and won the game. The team fight was a bit of a scattered mess as they tried for the flank. GAM comes out on top. GAM once again prime position in the league. They were already guaranteed first, but they're just gonna keep on winning. Gonna keep showing that they are taking these games seriously, making it they don't want any of these teams getting a freebie that could have dire implications for playoffs. So they want to take down everyone, make sure they have a clean record.
And what this also means is that now Cerberus and Team Wales are bank even in third, one series behind SBTC, and SBTC have to play against GAM and Cerberus. So it is looking very, very close in the fight for second place in the VCS, but GAM looking unstoppable as per usual. You got to feel a little bit bad for that damage of the Gwen, just not really enough.
Yeah, I mean, it's a little bit inflated because you get to whale on a mouth for a good chunk of the game, of course. But yeah, I mean, Pun this series has been played pretty well, but the rest of the map just kind of not really living up to what we want. Yado having a particularly poor showing on the Yone. That's gonna drag the win rate of that champion down a little bit, but I mean, no, it's just it feels like GAM is inevitable every time, and this time they didn't have quite anywhere close to as catastrophic a start as they did in Game 1, and when they came back from Game 1, you kind of felt, okay, Game 2 should pretty simply close out, and despite giving a good chunk of gold to Aphelios in the early game with that turret play that was good from Cerberus, look how little damage Artemis actually had and little impact he had on this game overall compared to the opposite number. Just kind of a poor showing in the late game in the back end of the split from the main carries of Cerberus.
And it feels like very similar to what happened in Game 1, where Artemis just could not have much of an impact. And even on the Aphelios, at one point he was nearly 1,000 gold ahead of anyone else, and Cerberus just couldn't find a way for him to really get involved in the game. They had him in the bottom lane split pushing when fights were happening around Rift Herald, and as a result, Jinx picked up kills and Artemis didn't. So for GAM, their 12th win of the season, they're now 24-7 in terms of individual game scores. And it's just a really good look for GAM heading into playoffs.
Yeah, they're looking clean. There are definitely moments that they can be exploited, and of course, it has cost them games before. Wales has taken both of their series against GAM to 3. I think SBTC took them pretty close in their first series as well. Hell, even Buffalo, I think, took a game off them, and that's not a playoffs team. Flash took a game off them. They've lost games before. We know this, and they just. But it's just. It's so hard to do multiple games in a row where they don't find the angle that where they'll win a team fight, find a big objective, usually like a Baron off that, and once they get that smidgen of control, then they're in the lead. And they're almost certainly going to win it. It takes an absolute mess of a game like the one against Flash where they lose with some kind of lead.
Yeah, and we saw as well from Stahl and the whole of GAM just really, really clean team fighting and kiting back, and it was so hard for Cerberus to just out team fight them at the end of the day. But I think with that, we are going to be wrapping up the show here on the VCS English. We'll be back tomorrow with 2 more series as Box Esports face against Team Flash, and Team Wales will be playing against Team Secret. But from myself, from Marty, and from our wonderful producer Spoods, we will see you guys tomorrow.